The grand galactic capital was abuzz with activity as representatives from across the known universe gathered for the biannual Galactic Council meeting. Delegates from advanced alien civilizations, adorned in their finest ceremonial garb, made their way to the ornate council chambers, eager to discuss the state of affairs in the galaxy. Among them was Xyloth, the grizzled ambassador from the Exeron Imperium, one of the oldest and most influential members of the council. As he took his seat, he leaned in to whisper to his colleague, Vraxis of the Cygnian hegemony. "Look at the pathetic delegation from that backwater planet called Earth," Xyloth scoffed, his reptilian features twisting into a sneer. "The humans still use primitive chemical-propelled projectile weapons and barely understand interstellar travel. What business do they have being here?" Vraxis chuckled, his glowing exoskeleton flickering with amusement. "Indeed, my friend. The Council would be better off without their presence. They are but children, stumbling about the galaxy, desperately trying to catch up to our technological prowess." The council chamber fell silent as the presiding arbiter, a towering holographic figure, stepped forward to address the gathered delegates. "Members of the Galactic Council, we are here today to discuss the pressing issues facing our civilizations. Let us begin with the report on the status of interstellar trade and resource allocation." As the discussions progressed, the human delegation sat quietly, their expressions a mix of curiosity and apprehension. The representative from Earth, a seasoned military commander named Admiral Evelyn Harrington, listened intently, taking notes and occasionally glancing at her colleagues, who seemed equally overwhelmed by the proceedings. Xyloth and Vraxis, meanwhile, continued to exchange whispered jabs, their disdain for the human presence palpable. "Look at them, fumbling with their primitive data devices," Xyloth sneered. "They'll never understand the intricacies of galactic politics." Vraxis nodded in agreement. "Exactly. The humans are like children playing in the midst of giants. They have no business being here, let alone pretending to be our equals." As the council session wore on, the human delegation remained silent, their expressions hardening with each dismissive remark from the other delegates. Admiral Harrington clenched her jaw, her knuckles white, as she gripped the armrests of her seat. She had known that this would be an uphill battle, but the sheer arrogance and condescension of the other council members was difficult to stomach. The arbiter's voice boomed through the chamber, commanding the attention of the delegates. "Now let us move on to the matter of the recent incursions along the galactic rim. Representatives from the affected systems, please provide your reports." As the discussion shifted to the pressing security concerns in the outer regions of the galaxy, the human delegation sat quietly, observing the proceedings with a growing sense of unease. They knew that their world, Earth, was a relative newcomer to the galactic stage, but they also believed that they had much to offer the Galactic Council. The question was, would the other members ever see them as true equals? The bustling streets of the human capital, Olympus Prime, were abuzz with excitement as the news spread like wildfire. The Galactic Council, the august governing body of the known universe, had extended an invitation to the human civilization to attend their biannual meeting. In the grand halls of the Ministry of Galactic Affairs, Admiral Evelyn Harrington, the recently appointed commander of the human military forces, pored over the details of the invitation, her brow furrowed in concentration. "This is an unprecedented opportunity," she murmured, her gaze fixed on the ornate parchment. "The Galactic Council has never before extended such an invitation to our people. We must be cautious, yet seize this chance to showcase our capabilities." Beside her, General Nathaniel Kepler, the grizzled head of the human ground forces, let out a low chuckle. "Cautious, eh? I say we go in there and show those pompous aliens what we're made of. It's high time the Galactic Council recognized the might of the human military." Admiral Harrington raised a hand, silencing the general's bravado. "We must tread carefully, Nathaniel. The council members are seasoned diplomats, and they will be wary of our presence. We need to present ourselves as a mature, capable civilization, not as brash upstarts. General Kepler opened his mouth to protest, but the arrival of the Minister of Galactic Affairs, Sofia Alvarado, drew their attention. "Admiral, General," Alvarado greeted them, her voice tinged with a mixture of excitement and concern. "The Council has requested that we send a comprehensive delegation to the upcoming meeting. They wish to assess the progress of our civilization and our readiness to join the galactic community." Admiral Harrington nodded, her expression grave. "Then we must ensure that our delegation is a reflection of our best and brightest. General Kepler, I want you to handpick a team of our most seasoned military officers to accompany us. We need to show the Council that we are a force to be reckoned with." Kepler saluted, a grin spreading across his weathered features. "Consider it done, Admiral. We'll give those alien bigwigs a show they'll never forget." As the preparations for the Council meeting began in earnest, a sense of both excitement and trepidation filled the human delegation. They knew that this was a pivotal moment in their history, a chance to prove their worth to the galactic community and secure a place for humanity among the stars. Admiral Harrington, however, couldn't shake the feeling that the Council members, with their condescending attitudes and dismissive remarks, would not be easily swayed. She steeled herself for the challenge ahead, determined to demonstrate the true power and potential of the human race. The Grand Council chambers of the galactic capital were abuzz with activity as the human delegation finally arrived, their presence eliciting a wave of hushed whispers and curious stares from the assembled alien delegates. Admiral Evelyn Harrington, resplendent in her dress uniform, led the human contingent, her gaze sweeping the room with a mixture of determination and apprehension. Beside her, General Nathaniel Kepler stared ahead, his jaw set in a hard line, radiating an aura of confidence that belied the tension in the air. As the arbiter, a towering holographic figure, called the Council session to order, Harrington straightened her shoulders and stepped forward, drawing the attention of the gathered delegates. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice clear and unwavering. "On behalf of the human civilization, we thank you for the invitation to this prestigious gathering. We are honored to be here, and we hope that our presence will mark the beginning of a new era of cooperation and understanding between our peoples." A murmur of polite applause rippled through the chamber, but Harrington could sense the underlying skepticism and disdain from many of the delegates. Undeterred, she continued, "As you all know, our people are relative newcomers to the galactic stage, but we have made great strides in our technological and scientific development. Today, we would like to share with you some of the advancements we have made in the field of military technology." Harrington nodded to a group of technicians, who quickly began to set up a series of holographic displays. The Council members leaned forward, their curiosity piqued, as the displays flickered to life, revealing an array of sleek, futuristic-looking weapons and vehicles. "These are just a small sample of our military capabilities," Harrington explained, her voice tinged with a hint of pride. "Our plasma-based energy weapons, advanced shielding systems, and highly maneuverable starfighters are just a few of the innovations we have developed in recent years." As the presentation continued, the human delegation could feel the skepticism and condescension radiating from their alien counterparts. Xyloth, the Exaran Imperium's ambassador, leaned over to Vraxis, his reptilian features twisted in a derisive sneer. "Look at these pitiful displays," he hissed. "The humans think their primitive technology can impress us. They are like children playing with toys, pretending to be warriors." Vraxis chuckled, his glowing exoskeleton flashing with amusement. "Indeed, my friend, it is almost endearing, in a way, to see them trying so hard to gain our approval. But they will never be our equals, no matter how much they may wish it to be so." As the human presentation drew to a close, Harrington could feel the weight of the Council's skeptical gaze upon her. She steeled herself, knowing that the true test was yet to come. The human civilization had come too far to be dismissed so easily. They would show the Galactic Council that they were worthy of a place among the stars. The silence that followed the conclusion of the human presentation was palpable, a tense hush that seemed to weigh heavily on the shoulders of the human delegation. Admiral Harrington stood tall, her gaze unwavering as she met the skeptical stares of the alien council members. Finally, the Arbiter, the towering holographic figure presiding over the proceedings, cleared its throat and spoke in a booming voice that echoed through the cavernous chamber. "Humans, we have witnessed the technological advancements you have presented to this council. While we acknowledge the progress your civilization has made, we cannot help but question the true extent of your military capabilities." Harrington felt a pang of unease as she sensed the undercurrent of condescension in the Arbiter's words. Beside her, General Kepler shifted his weight, his expression hardening with each passing moment. Xyloth, the Exaran Imperium's ambassador, rose from his seat, his reptilian features twisting into a sneer. "Your so-called advanced technology is nothing more than a poor imitation of what we have achieved centuries ago. Your people are but children, stumbling about the galaxy, desperate for the approval of your betters." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the council chambers, and Harrington could feel the weight of their collective disdain pressing down upon her. She took a deep breath, steadying her nerves, and stepped forward. "Honorable council members, we understand your skepticism, but I assure you that the capabilities of the human military are far greater than you may realize. Our people have faced countless challenges and obstacles, and we have emerged stronger for it. We stand ready to prove our worth, to contribute to the greater good of the galactic community." Vraxis, the Cygnian hegemony's delegate, let out a derisive laugh, his glowing exoskeleton pulsing with amusement. "Prove your worth. My dear human, you have already proven your worth. As a curiosity, a quaint diversion from the true matters of galactic importance, the Council has no need for your primitive contributions." The other delegates erupted into a chorus of agreement, their voices rising in a cacophony of dismissal and ridicule. Harrington felt her cheeks flush with a mixture of anger and frustration, but she refused to let her composure slip. As the Arbiter raised a hand, silencing the council, Harrington caught a glimpse of the human delegation's faces, their expressions a mix of embarrassment, disappointment, and barely contained fury. She knew that they were feeling the sting of the council's rejection, their dreams of galactic recognition and acceptance crumbling before their very eyes. With a heavy heart, Harrington realized that the true test for the human civilization had only just begun. They would have to find a way to prove their worth, to show the Galactic Council that they were worthy of a place among the stars, and she was determined to do whatever it took to make that happen. As the mocking laughter of the Galactic Council echoed through the Grand Chamber, Admiral Evelyn Harrington felt a surge of anger and frustration. Her knuckles were white, her nails digging into the palms of her hands, but she refused to let her composure crumble under the weight of the Council's contempt. Beside her, General Nathaniel Kepler's face was a mask of barely contained fury. His eyes narrowed, and Harrington could see the muscles in his jaw tightening as he ground his teeth in an effort to hold his tongue. The Arbiter's booming voice cut through the uproar, silencing the council members. "Humans, it is clear that this council does not see your civilization as a worthy addition to the galactic community. Perhaps it is best if you return to your homeworld and focus on your own affairs." Harrington felt her heart sink as the Arbiter's words sank in. The Galactic Council had dismissed them, their technological advancements and military capabilities deemed insignificant and unworthy of recognition. She knew that this was a devastating blow, not just for the human delegation, but for the entire human civilization. As the council members began to file out of the chamber, Harrington turned to her fellow delegates, her gaze sweeping over their dejected faces. "My friends, this is not the end. We may have been dismissed by the council, but we will not be deterred. We will return to Earth, and we will show them the true power and might of the human race." General Kepler stepped forward, his expression hardening with determination. "The Admiral is right. We've come too far to let these arrogant aliens push us aside. We'll go back, regroup, and then we'll show them what the human military is truly capable of." The members of the human delegation exchanged glances, their spirits lifted by the unwavering resolve of their leaders. Harrington could see the fire burning in their eyes, the determination to prove their worth and secure a place for humanity among the stars. As the human delegation made their way out of the council chambers, Harrington couldn't help but overhear the whispered conversations of the alien delegates. Xyloth's reptilian features were twisted in a smug grin as he spoke to Vraxis. "Did you see the look on their faces? The humans are nothing more than a nuisance, a distraction from the true business of the Galactic Council. They will never be our equals, no matter how hard they try." Vraxis chuckled, his glowing exoskeleton flickering with amusement. "Indeed, my friend. They should return to their primitive homeworld and leave the affairs of the galaxy to those who truly understand them." Harrington gritted her teeth, her anger simmering just beneath the surface. But she knew that now was not the time for retaliation. The human civilization had been dealt a blow, but she was determined to turn that setback into an opportunity. As the human delegation made their way back to their transport, Harrington's mind was already racing, formulating a plan to prove the worth of her people to the Galactic Council. This was not the end, but rather the beginning of a new chapter in the human quest for galactic recognition. The bustling command center of the human military's headquarters on Olympus Prime was a hive of activity as Admiral Evelyn Harrington pored over the latest intelligence reports. Her brow furrowed in concentration. She traced the path of their most advanced warship, the Dreadnought-class heavy cruiser Hyperion, as it made its way across the vast expanse of interstellar space. "Status report," Harrington commanded, her gaze fixed on the holographic display before her. A young officer, her uniform crisp and her posture straight, stepped forward. "The Hyperion is on course, Admiral. All systems are functioning at optimal levels, and the crew is ready to execute the mission." Harrington nodded, her lips pressed into a thin line. "Excellent. Have the Hyperion's commanding officer report to me immediately. Time is of the essence." As the officer hurried to carry out the order, General Nathaniel Kepler approached Harrington, his weathered features etched with a mixture of concern and determination. "Are you sure this is the right course of action, Evelyn?" Kepler asked, his voice low and gruff. "Sending our most advanced warship on a covert mission to the galactic capital is a risky gamble. What if the Council discovers our plan?" Harrington turned to face the seasoned general, her gaze unwavering. "We have no choice, Nathaniel. The Council has made it clear that they view us as nothing more than children playing at being soldiers. We need to show them the true might of the human military, and the Hyperion is our greatest asset." Kepler opened his mouth to protest, but Harrington raised a hand, silencing him. "I know the risks, Nathaniel, but the future of our people is at stake. We've come too far to be dismissed and relegated to the sidelines of galactic affairs. The Hyperion and her crew are the best we have to offer, and they are more than capable of pulling off this mission." Kepler's expression softened, and he let out a resigned sigh. "Very well, Evelyn. I trust your judgment. But if this goes wrong, the consequences could be devastating." Harrington nodded, her gaze returning to the holographic display. "I understand the stakes, Nathaniel. But I believe in our people, and I know that they will not let us down." As the commanding officer of the Hyperion arrived, Harrington briefed him on the details of the mission, her voice calm and authoritative. The officer listened intently, his expression shifting from skepticism to a determined resolve. "You can count on us, Admiral," the officer said, saluting sharply. "The Hyperion and her crew will not fail you." Harrington returned the salute, a glimmer of hope sparking in her eyes. "I know you won't. Godspeed, Captain. May the stars be with you." As the captain departed, Harrington couldn't help but feel a sense of both excitement and trepidation. The fate of the human civilization rested on the shoulders of the Hyperion's crew, and she could only hope that their gamble would pay off. The grand halls of the Galactic Council's headquarters were bathed in the warm glow of the twin suns as the delegates gathered once more for their biannual meeting. The air was thick with the hum of conversation and the rustling of robes as the various alien representatives took their seats, unaware of the impending surprise that was about to unfold. Xyloth, the Xeran Imperium's ambassador, leaned back in his chair, his reptilian features twisted in a self-satisfied smirk. "I wonder if the pathetic humans have finally realized the futility of their efforts," he mused aloud, his voice dripping with disdain. Vraxis, the Cygnian hegemony's delegate, chuckled in agreement. "Indeed, my friend. They should have returned to their backwater planet and accepted their place in the grand scheme of the galaxy." As the Arbiter rose to call the session to order, a sudden commotion at the entrance of the council chambers drew the attention of the gathered delegates. Whispers and murmurs rippled through the crowd as a member of the council's security detail hurried to the Arbiter, his face a mask of alarm. The Arbiter raised a hand, silencing the chamber. "What is the meaning of this disturbance?" The security officer, his voice trembling, spoke quickly. "Honored Arbiter, we have detected the presence of a massive, unidentified vessel in the skies above the capital. It appears to be of human design, but its size and power signature are unlike anything we've encountered before." Xyloth's eyes widened, his smug expression replaced by one of shock and disbelief. "Impossible. The humans could not have possibly constructed a ship of such magnitude without our knowledge." Vraxis leaned forward, his glowing exoskeleton flickering with a hint of uncertainty. "Order our defenses to be readied. We cannot allow these upstart humans to threaten the sanctity of the Galactic Council's seat of power." The Arbiter raised a hand, silencing the panicked murmurs. "Calm yourselves, delegates. We shall not resort to hasty actions. Dispatch a reconnaissance team to investigate this vessel and report back to the Council." As the security officers hurried to carry out the Arbiter's orders, the gathered delegates exchanged uneasy glances, their confidence shaken by the sudden appearance of the mysterious human warship. Admiral Harrington, watching the proceedings from a hidden vantage point, felt a surge of pride and anticipation. "It's time," she murmured, her gaze fixed on the holographic display that showed the Hyperion, the human Dreadnought, looming over the Galactic Council's headquarters. The stage was set for the human civilization to make its grand entrance, and Harrington knew that the fate of her people hung in the balance. This was their chance to prove their worth to the Galactic Council, and she was determined to seize it, no matter the cost. The tension in the Galactic Council chambers was palpable as the delegates waited with bated breath for the reconnaissance team's report on the mysterious human vessel that had suddenly appeared in the skies above the capital. Xyloth, the Xeran Imperium's ambassador, fidgeted in his seat, his reptilian features etched with a mix of concern and irritation. "This is preposterous," he muttered under his breath. "The humans could not have possibly constructed a ship of such magnitude without our knowledge." Vraxis, the Cygnian hegemony's delegate, nodded in agreement, his glowing exoskeleton pulsing with apprehension. "Indeed, my friend. We must get to the bottom of this immediately. The security of the Galactic Council is at stake." Just then, the doors to the chamber burst open, and the reconnaissance team rushed in, their expressions a mix of awe and bewilderment. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," the team leader began, his voice trembling with a hint of reverence. "The vessel we have observed is unlike anything we have ever encountered. It is a massive, heavily armed warship of human design, and its capabilities far exceed anything in our own arsenal." Xyloth and Vraxis exchanged a tense glance, their suspicions confirmed. Vraxis leaned forward, his voice laced with a touch of panic. "What are the specifics of this vessel's capabilities? Surely it cannot pose a threat to the Galactic Council's security." The team leader swallowed hard, his gaze shifting nervously. "The ship's primary weapon systems are capable of unleashing devastating barrages of plasma energy, easily penetrating even our most advanced shielding. Its maneuvering thrusters allow it to outpace our fastest starfighters, and its defensive systems are formidable, with layers of overlapping energy shields and armor plating. A hush fell over the council chamber as the delegates processed this startling information. Xyloth's reptilian features contorted with a mixture of shock and outrage. "Impossible," he exclaimed, slamming his fist onto the armrest of his chair. "The humans cannot possess such advanced technology. They must have stolen it from one of our own civilizations." The Arbiter raised a hand, silencing the outraged murmurs. "Delegates, we must not jump to conclusions. Let us allow this human vessel to demonstrate its capabilities, and then we shall decide how to proceed." Turning to the reconnaissance team, the Arbiter continued, "Summon the human delegation and instruct them to have their vessel make a full display of its armaments and maneuverability. We shall observe and assess the truth of their technological prowess." Admiral Harrington, who had been monitoring the proceedings from a hidden vantage point, felt a surge of pride and anticipation. "So be it," she murmured, her gaze fixed on the Hyperion as it prepared to showcase its might. The stage was set for the human civilization to make its grand statement, and Harrington knew that the time had come to prove the worth of her people to the Galactic Council once and for all. The air in the Galactic Council chambers was thick with anticipation as the human delegation, led by Admiral Evelyn Harrington, strode confidently into the room. The delegates, their expressions a mix of curiosity and unease, watched intently as the human officers took their places, their uniforms pristine and their bearing poised. Harrington stepped forward, her gaze sweeping across the assembled alien representatives. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, you have requested a demonstration of our military capabilities. It is our honor to oblige." With a nod, Harrington signaled to the communications officer, who relayed the order to the Hyperion, the human dreadnought that had earlier caught the council members by surprise. Moments later, the chamber's holographic displays flickered to life, projecting a live feed from the Hyperion's bridge. The massive warship, its sleek, angular hull gleaming in the light of the twin suns, slowly maneuvered into view, its presence commanding the attention of all who beheld it. Xyloth, the Exeron Imperium's ambassador, leaned forward in his seat, his reptilian features twisted with a mixture of awe and trepidation. "By the stars," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. "Such a vessel, in the hands of the humans." Vraxis, the Cygnian hegemony's delegate, sat in stunned silence, his glowing exoskeleton pulsing with a hint of apprehension. The other council members exchanged uneasy glances, their earlier dismissal of the human delegation giving way to a newfound sense of respect and caution. As the Hyperion's weapon systems activated, the council chamber was bathed in a brilliant display of plasma energy, the sheer destructive power of the human warship leaving the delegates in a state of awestruck silence. Harrington watched, her expression impassive, as the Hyperion effortlessly maneuvered through a series of complex maneuvers, its speed and agility defying the expectations of the alien onlookers. When the demonstration finally drew to a close, the Arbiter, the towering holographic figure presiding over the council, cleared his throat and addressed the human delegation. "Admiral Harrington, your people have proven the depth of their technological capabilities. The Galactic Council is impressed." The Arbiter paused, his digital countenance betraying a hint of uncertainty. "It would seem that we have underestimated the potential of the human civilization." Harrington felt a surge of pride, but she tempered her elation, knowing that the battle was far from over. "Honored Arbiter, the human people are eager to contribute to the greater good of the galaxy. We seek not to challenge the supremacy of the Galactic Council, but to work alongside you as partners and equals." Xyloth and Vraxis exchanged a tense glance, their expressions betraying a mix of grudging respect and lingering resentment. The other delegates, however, began to murmur in agreement, their attitudes visibly shifting as they contemplated the implications of the human civilization's newfound status. As the council session drew to a close, the Arbiter raised a hand, silencing the gathered delegates. "The Galactic Council will convene to discuss the matter of the human civilization's entry into our ranks. Admiral Harrington, Your people will be informed of our decision in due time." Harrington nodded, her gaze unwavering. "We await your decision with great anticipation, honored Arbiter." The human people stand ready to take their place among the stars. As the human delegation departed, a sense of cautious optimism filled the air. The Galactic Council had been forced to reconsider its stance on the human civilization, and the stage was set for a new chapter in the history of the galaxy.